What ho there, peasants, and welcome! Welcome indeed to a new video, kind sirs and siresses, or dames, madams? Ladies, that's the word. Today, we are doing a sponsored video. So yes, this video is sponsored, and it is sponsored by the guys over at MindArc, who are the creators of the reason of this video, which is a first impressions of the Entropia universe. Or Entropia universe, depending on how you want to pronounce it. So before we go anywhere, thank you very much to the guys over at MindArc for sorting this out and for getting this video to be sponsored, which is great. They also chucked me over a character which had some pre-leveling done on it, had some pre-build stuff done on it, and a bunch of items added to it, so I got a chance to kind of jump in at the later game and experience a bit of the later game. And that is where we're going to be basing most of the first impressions on, as that's where I got my first impressions. So without further ado, onwards to the review thing! So as this is a first impression, I'm going to impress the first thing that I did upon logging in to this character, which was to customize it, which I love a good bit of character customization. It's always good. It makes it feel a lot more like my character, which is what I did. So I decided to tackle all the different bits and bobs that you can in the old character customization menu. How do I zoom up? Sorry, I'm zooming into the guy's crotch right now. I do apologise. Right, face. Here we go. Okay, he looks like he's got a serious tan line going on right here. I can tell this guy goes outside and only wears a t-shirt. Serious tan line going on right there. So I was having a decent amount of fun while making this, and there is a really good range of different things that you can do. Considering the game has been around for quite some time, it's over 10 years old now, and it had a decent amount of character customizations, as you can see, such as the face, the hair, the forehead, the ears, eyes, and so on and so forth, all the way down to legs. You could pretty much customize anything you really wanted, even to the point where you can give them slightly wonky jawlines, which I always love because a slightly wonky jawline, or some silly feature, makes the game so much more lighthearted. Whoop. I don't know. Not sure. Good legs, hip width, some ginormous hips, thigh muscles, boom! Someone's been doing leg day. So as far as character customizations go, this one wasn't half bad. It was actually good fun, it's good fun to use, easy to use, it's just a bunch of sliders. None of this ticking between stuff, it was all slider based, which I can really appreciate. A nice simple way of getting through that is always good in my eyes. Moving on! So next up we have graphics. Now the graphics in this game are okay. The game is, like I said, over 10 years old. So the fact that the graphics still look relatively decent is quite an achievement in all fairness, because most older games now, even ones that are only 10 years old, I mean this one's up to, it's about 17 years old now, but even ones that are only 10 years old can still be pretty awful. Now as far as I'm aware, they had a graphical update recently, relatively recently, which brought things forward a little bit more, but even down to that, I can't really fault the graphics that much. For an MMO, the graphics are never that insane. I mean, in comparison to other games, I mean, I'm going to do it. I'm going to compare it to World of Warcraft, but World of Warcraft has its completely own different style of graphics. It's its own style. It's its own aesthetic. This one had a more realistic vibe to it. They tried to go down the more realism route, which is fine. A lot of MMOs do that. Some of them pull it off, some of them don't. The graphics in this were okay. Now, having said that, the newer areas, you can definitely see there's a much more emphasis on the graphics. For example, the Christmas update, which I was playing, the creatures on that had some really cool models. Like, the actual models of the creatures are quite unique. They look really cool. I can't really fault that. They look pretty awesome. Most of the characters and monsters are pretty good. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. And then when I went to some higher areas, you could really see the difference of the effort that was put into the different graphics. Some of the creatures and the bosses that we were fighting looked completely bizarre, but really cool at the same time. So, graphics for me aren't always massively important, but for this one, they were alright. They were pretty good. That leads me on to the scale and gameplay of Entropia Universe. The place is ginormous, quite frankly. It is huge. You don't particularly realise when you first look at the map that when you start to zoom out and start to move around, like, how little distance you actually move when you're going from A to B. The place is vast. It is very, very big. There seems to be quite a lot that you can be doing at any one time. There's lots of places you can go to in that one area. So the place is huge. And the gameplay itself isn't too bad either. It tends to feed more of a... I mean, you can play it in third person if you like, but I was playing it in first person as it felt more like a first person kind of game for me. I say as I'm playing in third person. It was kind of like an FPS MMO, which also reminded me a little bit of the Elder Scrolls Online, which had that ability to go third or first person, something which is a little bit unique in MMOs. I like the ability to be able to go between the two. Something like how No Man's Sky does it, you can go between the two depending on your personal preference, which is fine. So the gameplay itself was primarily based, from what I could tell, on shooting, FPS kind of style, with an element of magic to it as well. You could have these things that enabled you to use like fire-based abilities as well. So it's not like World of Warcraft's pushing a button to cast a spell, you know, timing yourself to push certain buttons in certain orders, numbers, keys, and whatnot. This was based more on point-and-click shooting FPS kind of style of gameplay. Me personally, I prefer the World of Warcraft style of MMO, having something to cast, having something to, you know, a cooldown timer. I could be wrong here that they don't include that, but it seems to me that it's more of an FPS-based thing, which is also completely fine. Just me personally, I prefer the casting style method. I prefer the World of Warcraft, the Elder Scrolls style method. But that also could be me being biased because I prefer the swords and magic style games as opposed to FPS sci-fi games, with the exception of No Man's Sky. Oh, okay. He's a pretty big guy. Oh, I need to charge my Switch. That just reminded me. For some reason, this guy has reminded me I need to charge my Switch. I'll bring it up, bitch. Come at me, bro. I will kite you. I will kite you to high heaven, sir. Or to hell, whichever one you prefer. But it was still enjoyable. It reminded me of a typical kind of shooter, so I enjoyed that. It was fun. However, the main thing which I enjoyed the most out of this, and I think I got the most from playing Entropia, was its community. I think I was very pleasantly surprised about how kind the people were who played it and how helpful they were willing to be. I was streaming away for a good number of hours, and a few people from the community were in the chat as well, and started to invite me to these various places I didn't know how to get to, but they were inviting me there nonetheless, specifically to come and help me and to show me the different areas of the world. So for those people who did, a huge thank you go out to you guys, because you made the game like something completely different for me. It became much more for me once I got to know you guys of the community, and they took me to this high level area which you're seeing on screen at the moment, to go and battle these bosses over and over and over again, which was really good fun. I even offered them the loot at the end of it, but they wouldn't take it. So for that alone, I feel like this game is kind of, if you're someone who really likes the community of a game, then this one has an awesome one. I played for playing the game for such a short period of time, of being so new at the game, and so hugely welcoming and hugely helpful. So thank you so much in that sense. But overall, my first impressions were positive. I can't really fault the game in any particular way. It's a cool MMO, it's a really cool concept. It's huge. It has this crazy in-game monetary value to everything. Like, everything in the game you can sell for real money, and apparently some of the stuff that I had on me was worth thousands. That was obviously given to me by the devs, so I couldn't just go to flog that, unfortunately. But it was still really, really cool, and it was a nice experience to meet the people who played the game and the people who were just around me at the time, and to see what was going on. And the first experience was a positive, welcoming one. So for that, I'm hugely thankful. And that comes to an end of my first impression. It's a relatively short one, but I don't feel like you need to have long first impression videos. So thank you very, very much for watching. Please don't feel free, in fact, please feel free to drop a subscription as well. And I'm streaming over on Twitch right now, so make sure you pop on over, come and see Chairification on Twitch, and come and give me a follow. Thank you very much, everyone, and I will see you very, very soon. Fare thee well, friends.